Hi everyone, Miss Hunt here. It's time to register for your classes for next year, for your senior year. And so this video is basically our advisement session. It would be hopefully as close to what I would explain to you one-on-one in a CAP conference. And it's pretty much the way we have to do it with everything that's going on. And so my hope is that you will watch the video and pay attention and follow the directions. And so when you do get into your Home Access Center account to register, that it will go smoothly and be correct. And so we're going to go ahead and get started. The best place for you to start is on the CAP conference website, which is if you go to pgtigers.org and then you go to schools and high school. If you don't go to the high school site, this next step will not work. And so in the menu and under counseling department, I think my little picture window is covering it, but you're going to click on CAP Conferences 2020. And that's going to take you to the CAP conference page that I operate here. Hopefully it looks familiar, that you've been here a couple of times when we had our advisory sessions and you did the surveys and things like that before all this mess happened. And so Friday the 15th through Wednesday the 20th is the window that you have in order to be able to register in your Home Access Center account. Obviously I'm doing this before I'm done with the videos, and so the videos are going to be right here. You found that already. A few things that I feel like you need to do before you jump into HACC is pull up the registration plan, and this is familiar hopefully also. Most of you did this in March, and you talked to your teachers about what classes to take next year and all that good stuff. And so if you don't have a printer and can't print this, then just write it out on a piece of paper. Like it doesn't have to be perfect, but I do think it's important for you to have a plan before you register, so you don't just get in there and start signing up for random things. So you don't sign up for 15 things or just 4 or whatever. So it is important that you focus on having enough to fill 8 periods, because you do have to be scheduled all day. And then you also need to be thinking about what alternates you're going to sign up for, because that is important as well. And remember that an alternate is maybe not necessarily something you love, but it's something that you will have to live with. And so if you sign up for oh gosh, I don't know. Maybe you sign up for ag metals and we can't make that period work for you, then what could you live with instead? That's just an example. So an alternate is like a backup plan, and that's always a good idea to have. Another thing that, because you're seniors, is probably a really good idea is to look at your transcript in HACC. You go to grades and then the transcript tab, and it's only updated through the fall semester because spring grades are not final yet, and that won't happen until, the last week of May. So, and then the other thing is this graduation check sheet. And this is not your official credit check. I have that, and most of you should have access to that in your Google Drive. But this is a way for you to kind of take your transcript and check off everything that you have to graduate. And it is very important for seniors to make sure that you cover all that. And I know you've heard me say it before, but this is your diploma. And so it is up to you to make sure that you are registering for the classes that you have to graduate. If you have not had speech yet, then you need to make sure that you sign up for speech as a senior. I'm here as a backup, and I catch most of those things, but I'm human and I have 600 kids to check all this with, and you have just you. And so it's very important that you are an active participant in your graduation. And so in order for you to be able to do that, you have to make sure that you have covered all your requirements. And this is one way for you to double check all that. Remember, each box is a semester. So, ninth grade English, if you've passed both semesters, then you check off both boxes. And so if you failed something, if you failed Algebra 1 and you haven't made it up yet, then that's something you need to be aware of, and you need to sign up for credit recovery, or you need to do summer school. And then of course on this page is just some other things to note, some specific requirements. Most of you have already met these little extra state things that we have to do, but we will make sure those get covered as well. So don't forget about the check sheet. The science pathway, if you want to look at that, that's really kind of for underclassmen. Most of you are done with your science at this point, or you're just doing science for electives. So the next thing I want you to open up is the classes for 12th graders. These are the classes that you can take. Remember, one English and one math. It does not matter how many math classes you have already had, you have to take a math every year. Science and social studies if you still need them or if you want to take them as an elective, and then 4 more elective choices and 3 alternates. So remember, you have to be scheduled all day. So for your English, regular senior English or AP Lit is the AP offering next year, and then of course there's Resource English for the special ed students. My normal AP spiel is if you want to take AP, we want you to take it. There is open enrollment. Your past academic history has no bearing on whether or not you can take an AP class next year. But what you do have to know going in is that it is more rigorous. There is more expected. It is a college level class in a high school setting. And the big thing is you can't get out of an AP class when it gets hard. We do not let you out at semester. You've got to stick with it, and if it's your English and you don't pass it, then that may keep you from graduating. So these are things, if you're college bound, we feel like you should take as much AP as you can stand, and that's different for every kid. And your family's expectations and your own expectations, and you have to live with each other. And so those are conversations to have with your family and things like that before you sign up. The big thing is, and this is something you've probably heard me say it before, is kids sign up at CAP conferences like they're wearing their buffet pants. And so I liken CAP conferences to you go into a buffet starving to death and you load up your plate with all this stuff thinking, I'm so hungry. Next year I'm going to be a good student. Next year I'm going to read all the novels. Next year I'm going to do all my work. I'm going to come to tutoring, all of that. And next year comes around, or it's August 1st, and you're sending me an email that tells me my mama doesn't want me to take AP chemistry anymore. And then all your friends start doing that too. And so like this year, because of the craziness that we are going through, we don't know what school's going to look like next year. There's not going to be a whole lot of room to make those kind of changes. So if you sign up for any AP class, you need to be prepared to stay with it. There will be very little room for changes when it's all said and done. And so keep that in mind. All right, so for math, this is the other kind of thing where kids can get confused. You do have to have a math every year. Even if you already have the 4 required for graduation, we make you take a math every single year. And there's a couple of different options. If you took Bridge to Algebra 2 as a junior, you can do Algebra 2, but you could also do Technical Math. That is a new class that we're offering in place of Bridge. It's a 4th math, and so it still meets that requirement. It's not Smart Core, but you probably already have that waiver if you took Bridge to Algebra 2. If you took Algebra 2 as a junior, then you can also take Technical Math. And so it's the original, or the title is Technical Math for College and Career. And so we just call it Technical Math though, but that is for someone who either has not had Algebra 2 or has had Algebra 2. If you've had Algebra 2, you can also do Algebra 3, you could do Pre-Cal, you could do AP Stats. If you took Pre-Cal last year, then AP Cal, AB would be your choice. And if you were one of the few juniors that did AP Cal, then BC or AP Stats or something like that is what you need to choose, because you do have to have a math every single year. Science, if you still need a science, those are your choices. We have AP Environmental, AP Physics, and then our 2-period AP Science classes, AP Chem and AP Bio. Remember, like if you sign up for them, you're staying in there. And so keep that in mind and have an honest conversation with yourself about what you're really going to do. So social studies, make sure that at this point, if you have not had civics and econ, a world history, and a U.S. history, you have to have it by the time you graduate. And so if you have taken one of these other electives instead of U.S. history as a junior, that's fine, but you do have to have U.S. history. These electives cannot take the place of one of the state requirements, which are listed right here. AP Government is an option, and then AP Psychology is offered through distance learning. So Spanish, or not just Spanish, but any foreign language, remember, is not required for graduation. It's not required for any Arkansas Public University admission. However, it is required in some majors. And so depending on what you're going to major in, and if you are thinking about going to college out of state, you might have to have it for admission there. So we do recommend 2 years of the same language. If you haven't taken a foreign language yet, there's really no way at this point to get 2 years in, but they are good classes either way. So engineering, if you've done engineering, those are the choices based on what year you started. Computer science options, kind of based on the year. This is the beginner, and then there are a couple of AP options. Notice that AP Computer Science Principles is through distance learning. Career and technical, these are our vocational classes, and they do have prerequisites. And so if you have not had Survey of Ag or Intro to Ag, then you cannot sign up for any of these classes. You can take Intro to Ag as a senior. That is okay if that's something you're interested in, or maybe you're just newly interested. Same thing, family and consumer science. If you have not had FACS, then you don't really need to, you can't sign up for any of these. And so these are the elective options that we have in that area. Vocational business, Survey of Business is the intro class. It might have been called Computer Business Apps when you were in the 9th or the 10th grade. So the state changed the name to Survey of Business this last year. But if you've taken that, then you can sign up for any of these classes. Marketing Business Enterprises Marketing. The state changed the name to that as well. And remember, NWAC offers, Ms. Bartholomew teaches a concurrent Intro to Computer Information class. You don't have to have CBA for that, but it's about $160, but you do get NWAC college credit. And so Ms. Bartholomew teaches it. It's a great opportunity. It's a basic computer class that almost every major has to have. And then there's fashion merchandising, which is a semester class through distance learning. Seniors can take CNA, and then we are excited. Officer Falk is actually going to teach a section of Intro to Criminal Justice. And so if you sign up for criminal justice and you can't get in his, because it's only going to be one period, if you can't get into that, then it can be distance learning. But anyway, you have our nursing and our criminal justice that our charter school is kind of operating. And then other career prep, seniors can be part of the work program. There are some specific requirements, and there's a checklist on the website that you need to look at before you register, because there's 3 different ways to qualify for the work program. And they have very specific requirements. And so it's a lot easier for us if you know which program you qualify for and which one you're going to sign up for. So that way you pick the correct one. So you can leave up to 3 periods. It can be morning, afternoon. It could be the middle of the day. You can come to school, leave, go to work, and come back to school. We are fairly flexible with that. If you only want to work 1 period a day, that's fine too. So it's very flexible, but there is an application. Ms. Bartholomew oversees that. So if you have questions about that, you should contact her for sure. Oral communications, you do have to have before you graduate. The state has changed the name to professional communications, and so it's basically just speech. If you have not had speech yet, you have to have it to graduate, so you need to sign up for it as a senior. Same thing with fine arts. If you are not in band or choir or theater and you haven't done art, then you've got to have a fine art credit. And one of the ways that you can do that is this visual art appreciation class. It's just a semester and it fulfills that requirement, especially if you don't feel like you're an artsy kid. It's not so much based on your skill. There's smaller projects and things like that, but it does help you get that requirement that you do have to have. Then of course all of our other fine art offerings, make sure you choose the correct year. If you've been in band for 3 years, make sure you sign up for band 4. That's how you get credit every year. Same thing with theater. We're excited that we can offer another year's credit of theater. And so if you've done theater 1 and 2, you can sign up for theater 3 and get another year's credit. You do have to have PE and health before you graduate, so if you haven't done that, be sure and add that in. And then we have weight training as an elective option. For athletics, you more than likely, if you played a sport your freshman year, you got your PE credit from that. The state has made it where you can get your PE credit at any year for athletics, but you can only get it 1 time. So most of you are going to be registering for these classes, and you already have your PE credit, so you don't have to worry about it. But these will be on your transcript. You do get a grade because we want people to know that you participated, but they have no credit, no impact on your GPA, any of that stuff. It is just mostly to show people that you participated. And then remember, with our semester sports, like these are the classes that don't have an off season. And so if you sign up for tennis, then you need to figure out what you're going to do in the spring when tennis is over. So make those considerations as well. Our other electives that we have, East, again, make sure you sign up for the correct year. This is East Broadcasting, who does the games and the ceremonies and the graduations and that kind of stuff. We've got journalism, we have drones, and one thing that's really popular among seniors is community service. And so only seniors can do this. This is teacher's aid, and it's basically up to you to find the teacher that agrees to let you work for them. And so we actually found out, I hope I'm not like breaking anyone this news, but Miss Young is retiring. And so Miss Young will not be at the school next year. We will have someone else oversee community service. And so for now, you don't necessarily have to worry about making contact with her, but you do have to find the teacher that you're going to work for. And previously, I've probably told you you've got to clear it with the teacher you're going to work for and Miss Young, but Miss Young is retiring, and so we're excited for her and happy for her, but sad to be losing her as well. But so for community service for now, if you just try to find the teacher that will allow you to work. The only thing I really need to know about your community service is if they have a particular time they want you or don't want you. Like some teachers don't want a community service person on their prep period. So those are things that I need to know so I don't schedule you in that. Yearbook is, it's really too late to sign up for that. There was an application that was due before we left for coronavirus. And then we have some intervention classes. We have a critical reading that we offer for students who are behind grade level on reading skills. We have academic reading for the students who have been identified with dyslexic qualities. We have credit recovery. This is a big one. If you have failed a required class and you have not made it up in summer school, then you need to sign up for credit recovery because those are things you have to graduate. And then you can sign up for a study hall if you have 2 AP classes, and only if. And so that's something that we will double check to make sure before you get a study hall that you have 2 APs. So distance learning, by now you probably know how this works, but these are our offerings. Nurse Allen is going to teach a couple of sections of Foundations of Healthcare and medical terms and things on our campus. And so if we can't get you in those sections with her, they will be in distance learning. But you have to know with distance learning that it's computer-based. You're submitting your assignments online. You're talking to the teacher over a meeting like this. And so that's not for everybody. And if that's not for you, don't sign up for that. You also have the option to take some NWAC concurrent classes, and these are not free. You do have to pay for them, and it's about $200 by the time it's all said and done, but you'll have a period in your schedule to work on them. They are online, and these are your choices, things that you can take. Then with NTI, it's really too late. The applications were due before spring break. There are a couple of programs that still have openings, and so if you're interested, you can just email me and I can find out if you can still apply or not. But for most of these, it's going to be too late. All right, so that's pretty much it. I appreciate you watching. I hope that after this video, if you still have questions, that you will reach out to me. There is a link on the website to make an appointment. If you have something specific or something that you don't think an email would be appropriate for, you can make an appointment with me and we can talk about it and work it out. There's another video I'd like you to watch about how to register in your Hack account, because it's very easy and it's like kind of self-explanatory, but there's also an easy way to mess it up. And so it's very important that we do it correctly. And so please watch that before you start as well. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm available over email mostly, but again, schedule an appointment if needed. And I hope that we get to see you in August. That's my hope, but we'll see how all this turns out. And as far as your high school advisor, they will probably only be contacting you if you make a mistake. They'll reach out to you to try to fix whatever needs to be fixed after Wednesday. So be looking for that if you're kind of unsure, but probably in this case, no news is good news as well. So All right, well, that's really all I have. I appreciate you listening, and I hope y'all have a great summer, and I hope your registration goes smooth. All right, bye-bye.